Welcome back to MDL Crochet for this stitch tutorial. This stitch is the Tunisian running stitch. This stitch is done multiples of 2 plus 3. I went ahead and I pulled up a chain of 21, which is 18 plus 3. It is a 4-row repeat. First we need to pull up our foundation row, and with Tunisian Crochet we do our foundation row in the back bumps, and it's always started with the second loop from your hook. So that's loop 1, because you don't count the one on your hook. Loop 1, loop 2, fold it over, and start pulling up in those back bumps. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my 21, and we will start, and I'll meet you at the return pass. 21 loops left. Alright, so I have 21 loops on my hook. Now to start a return pass, with that last loop, you're going to chain 1. So you just chain 1. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops until you only have 1 loop left on your hook. This is called the standard return pass. Alright, so we have our foundation row pulled up. And this starts row 1 of the 4-row repeat. We're going to do a simple stitch. And then we're going to do what's called a slip stitch, which you just put your needle like you're going in to do a simple stitch, but just leave your needle. You're not pulling a loop through that. Go to the next one, you're going to do a simple stitch. Then we're going to do a slip stitch. And then a simple stitch in the very next one. Slip stitches you just leave on your hook. A slip stitch. And then a simple stitch. A slip stitch. A simple stitch. A slip stitch. A simple stitch. A slip stitch. And then go to the next one, a simple stitch, slip stitch, simple stitch, a slip stitch, a simple stitch, a slip stitch, and then a simple stitch. So you're alternating between a slip stitch and a simple stitch. We started with the simple stitch. Now for our end stitch, just fold over onto the top of your needle, and you're going to go right where you need to go. Yarn over, pull up your loop, and it's a standard return pass. So chain 1, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, all the way down to the end till you only have that 1 loop left on your hook. Alright, so now we did row 1 of the 4-row repeat. The next part of this is a simple stitch all the way down. You're just going to pull up simple stitches all the way down. This is going to make a very thick fabric. So just pull up all your simple stitches, and then do your standard return pass, which is pull up your loop, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, all the way down to the end. You only have that 1 loop left on your hook. Now we're moving on to row 3 of the 4-row repeat. Now we know we moved the very first row, we did a simple stitch. Now we're going to start with a slip stitch. So you're alternating what you did on row 1 for row 3. So slip stitch, simple stitch, slip stitch, simple stitch, slip stitch, and a simple stitch, slip stitch, and then a simple stitch, slip stitch, 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 simple stitch, and we're on the very last one, we're going to go ahead and do a slip stitch. Now we're going to go ahead and do our end stitch, pull up our loop, chain 1, and it's our standard return pass. Yarn over and pull through 2. And you're going to do that all the way down till you only have that 1 loop left on your hook. Alright, so now we're on to row 4. Row 4 is nothing but simple stitches. So you just pull up your simple stitches all the way down, and that is your 4-row repeat. It's a very simple repeat. We'll do one more block of 4 together, and remember, it is a standard return pass. Alright, so now we're going to go back to row 1 of the 4-row repeat. That is a simple stitch, a slip stitch, a simple stitch, slip stitch, a simple stitch, a slip stitch, a simple stitch, a slip stitch, a simple stitch, a slip stitch, a simple stitch. Just continue that pattern all the way down. Slip stitch, simple stitch, slip stitch, simple stitch, slip stitch, simple stitch, slip stitch, and a simple stitch. And then we have our end stitch. Yarn over, pull up that loop, and a standard return pass. So you chain 1, yarn over, and pull through 2. Yarn over and pull through 2 all the way down to the end till you only have that 1 loop left on your hook. To row 2. Now we're on to row 2 of this 4-row repeat. And row 2 is nothing but simple stitches all the way down with the standard return pass. Alright, so we're about to start row 3 of the 4-row repeat. And row 3 of the 4-row repeat starts with a slip stitch because row 1 of the 4-row repeat starts with a simple stitch. So we're going to do a slip stitch, and then we do a simple stitch, slip stitch, simple stitch, slip stitch, simple stitch, and just continue that pattern. Just slip stitch, simple stitch, 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 and a slip stitch, and then our end stitch. And then it's a standard return pass. So pull up your loop, chain 1, yarn over it, pull through 2, all the way down, yarn over and pull through 2, repeating that action all the way down to the end until you only have that 1 loop left on your hook. And we will start row 4 of the 4-row repeat. Alright, so now we're about to start row 4 of the 4-row repeat, and that is nothing but simple stitches. So row 2 and row 4 are nothing but simple stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this row. I'm going to do a few more repeats off camera so we can get a bigger look at this and get a bigger feel for how the curl is. And I'm going to show you how to close this off. Alright, so when you end your project, you should end on the simple stitch row. This is how we're going to do our close off. It's a simple stitch slip off. You just pull up your simple stitch, and you only want 1 loop on your hook, so you're going to just slip it off. And you're going to do that all the way down. Just pull up a loop and then just slip it off. You want, like I said, you just want that 1 loop left on your hook. So go ahead and finish that, and then we'll talk about this stitch for just a second. Alright, so we're at the end stitch. We're about to do our slip off and then our extra little chain. And that is the stitch. It's going to be a very heavily curl stitch. It is very thick. It's a lot thicker than the simple stitch. And you can see how you have the long where we did our slip stitch, and then there's two here. So in between each long one is two, because that's 2 rows. And this is the running stitch. It is a very, very thick fabric, and that's what the back looks like. Remember, if you found this tutorial helpful, please give me a like and subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. And leave me a comment. I will chit chat with you. And what I like to say, keep stitching.